The Long Way Home, Part 1, The Usual Route. The warehouse lights flickered as Marcus dragged the metal shutter down, the echo rattling through the empty loading dock. He checked his watch. 11:47 p.m. Another late shift done. Finally, Tanya muttered behind him, adjusting her backpack. If Mr. Chen calls another stop tape, I'm quitting. Marcus laughed softly. You said that last month I wasn't serious. They stepped into the cold November air and started their usual walk toward the bus stop. The industrial district was silent at night, rows of dark warehouses stretching endlessly on both sides. The shortcut saved 15 minutes. After 12-hour shifts, those minutes mattered. Tanya scrolled through her phone. Mom asked if she should wait up. Tell her no. Already did. She's waiting anyway. Marcus smiled despite his exhaustion. Ever since their father died 3 years ago, their mother worried constantly. Tonight was no different. The cold crept deeper, and Marcus pulled Tanya closer as they walked. 3 blocks, he said, then weird footsteps echoed behind them. At first, Marcus ignored it. Security guards sometimes passed through. Other workers used the shortcut too. Then the footsteps sped up. More than one. Marcus' grip tightened on Tanya's shoulder. Don't stop, he whispered. Just walk faster. Tanya looked back, her face drained of color. 4 men, dark hoodies, 30 feet away, closing fast. Yo, hold up. Marcus' heart slammed against his ribs. The bus stop was only 2 blocks away, but the warehouses were sealed, gates locked, no doors, no escape. Keep going, he whispered. They didn't make it. A hand yanked Marcus backward. He stumbled as 4 figures surrounded them. Phones, wallets. Now, a knife flashed under the streetlight, inches from Marcus' throat. The man holding it was tall, scars slicing down his cheek like a warning. Tanya's hands shook as she opened her bag. Please just don't hurt us. It's okay, Marcus said, forcing calm into his voice. Give them what they want. As Tanya handed over her phone, another man grabbed her wrist. Nice watch, he said, twisting her arm. I'll take this too. Please, Tanya begged. My mom gave me that. I don't care. Something snapped inside Marcus. He shoved the man away. Pain exploded across his jaw. Marcus staggered, tasting blood as the scarred man pressed the knife against his throat. You shouldn't have done that, the man hissed. Now it's gonna hurt. Marcus locked eyes with Tanya as fear flooded his chest. And then, sirens. Blue and red lights spilled across the street. Everything froze. Cops, one of the robbers shouted. The knife vanished. The men scattered as a police cruiser screeched to a stop, spotlight flooding the street. Freeze. Police. 2 officers jumped out, weapons drawn. Relief surged through Marcus. Then a gunshot shattered the night. One of the robbers fired toward the cruiser. Chaos erupted. An officer dove for cover, yelling into his radio. The younger cop returned fire as the robbers ran in all directions. Get down, the officer screamed. Marcus threw himself over Tanya as bullets tore through the street. Glass shattered. Metal screamed as rounds hit dumpsters and warehouse walls. Tanya sobbed beneath him, her body shaking violently. Officer down. Officer down. Marcus risked a glance. The younger officer was bleeding, clutching his shoulder as his partner dragged him behind the cruiser. The shooter retreated into the darkness, firing wildly before disappearing between warehouses. Then, silence, only ringing ears, heavy breathing, and distant sirens. Are you hurt? The officer asked, scanning the shadows. Marcus sat up slowly. No, I think we're okay. Tanya nodded, still crying. The street flooded with police and ambulances. Yellow tape sealed the area. EMTs wrapped them in blankets though they hadn't been hit. Detective Sarah Morrison crouched in front of them. I need everything you remember. Marcus described the men, the scar, the spider web tattoo. The detective's pen paused. Spider web tattoo. Yes, on his neck. She nodded. Anything else? One of them said something. Marcus said slowly. Something about Devon. Devon's gonna be pissed if we're late. The detective circled the name. Across the street, Tanya stared into the crowd. Tanya, Marcus whispered. I thought I saw someone I know, she said quietly. Probably nothing, but her body was rigid. When they finally got home near 4 a.m., their mother broke down crying. They ate in silence. None of the food had taste. Marcus couldn't sleep. Knives, gunshots, shadows. Near noon, Tanya knocked on his door. I wasn't imagining it, she said. I saw Devon, their childhood friend. The name echoed like a gunshot. And suddenly, nothing felt safe anymore. The aftermath. The street no longer belonged to them. By the time Marcus and Tanya were guided into the back of the ambulance, the industrial block had transformed into a sea of flashing red and blue. Squad cars lined the road. Yellow tape stretched from fence to fence. Officers moved with sharp efficiency, boots crunching over broken glass and spent shell casings. Marcus sat stiffly, an emergency blanket wrapped around his shoulders. His hands wouldn't stop shaking. Across the street, paramedics worked frantically on the wounded officer. Marcus heard someone say his name, Officer Brennan. A bullet through the shoulder, not fatal. Lucky. That word kept echoing in Marcus' head. They were lucky, but it didn't feel like luck. It felt like borrowed time. Detective Sarah Morrison approached, her face calm but serious. I need you to walk me through everything. Slowly, Marcus spoke like he was narrating someone else's life. The walk, the footsteps, the knife, the watch, the gunshots. Tanya filled in details he missed. One had a scar, Marcus said, left cheek, tall. And the shooter? The detective asked. Spiderweb tattoo, Tanya said, on his neck. The detective's pen paused. That's helpful. When Marcus mentioned the name Devon, her expression sharpened. Are you sure? I think so, Marcus said. It was chaos, but I heard it. She nodded. Even fragments matter. As she stood to speak with other officers, Tanya froze beside him. Marcus followed her gaze. Nothing stood out. Just officers, bystanders, phones raised, recording. Tanya, she swallowed. I thought I saw someone I know. Who? I don't know, she said quickly. Probably nothing. But she didn't stop staring. They didn't leave the scene until nearly 3:30 a.m. At home, their mother collapsed into tears. She kept touching their faces, their arms, as if checking they were real. I should we made you take the main road, she cried. Marcus said nothing. He couldn't tell her the truth that they'd taken the shortcut because they were tired, because they didn't think anything bad would happen, because nobody ever thinks it will be them. Sleep came in fragments. Nightmares bled into waking. At noon, Marcus woke to a knock. Tanya stood in the doorway, eyes hollow. I need to tell you something, she said. The words tightened his chest. At the scene, she whispered, I wasn't mistaken. Marcus sat up. What do you mean? I saw Devon. The room went silent. He was across the street, she continued, watching. When he saw me looking at him, he left. Marcus shook his head. Maybe he came to check on us. At 3 in the morning. And why didn't he come over? Marcus didn't answer. Tanya pulled out her phone. Look. Photos filled the screen. Devon at clubs, bottles, clothes Marcus knew he couldn't afford. Then one photo stopped him cold. A man in the background. Spiderweb tattoo. Marcus felt sick. I think, Tanya whispered, Devon set us up. Detective Morrison listened without interruption. When Marcus finished, she leaned back slowly. You did the right thing calling, she said. He threatened us, Tanya said. He had a gun. We'll handle that. They gave full statements, identified photos, timeline, everything. Devon was brought in that night. Phone records placed him with the crew. Security footage showed meetings. Gambling debts surfaced. The net closed fast. All 4 suspects are in custody. The detective texted later. You're safe. Safe didn't feel real. Weeks passed. Devon was indicted. The others charged with armed robbery and attempted murder. Officer Brennan recovered. The city installed lights where darkness once ruled. One evening, Marcus and Tanya stood at the bus stop again. I wish he chose differently, Tanya said. So do I, Marcus replied. The bus arrived. They stepped on together. They had survived. And sometimes, survival had to be enough. The trial didn't begin right away. Weeks turned into months, and life settled into a strange in-between state, where everything looked normal on the surface but felt permanently altered underneath. Marcus went back to work. Tanya returned to the office upstairs. The warehouse still smelled like oil and dust. The fluorescent lights still flickered, but nothing felt the same. They stopped taking shortcuts. Even in daylight, Marcus found himself scanning reflections in windows, memorizing faces in crowds, listening for footsteps that weren't there. At night, sleep came lightly, easily broken by dreams of knives, flashing and gunshots cracking through empty streets. The first court date arrived on a gray Tuesday morning. Rain slicked the courthouse steps, blurring reflections into something warped and unsteady. Marcus and Tanya walked in together, shoulders brushing, neither willing to go in alone. Devon sat at the defense table. He looked smaller somehow, thinner. The confidence was gone, replaced by something hollow. When his eyes met Marcus, he looked away first. The prosecutor laid it all out. Phone records, security footage, witness statements, the photo with the spider web tattoo, Devon's own confession, recorded before he tried to walk it back. When Marcus took the stand, his hands shook at first, but as he spoke, something steadied inside him. He told the truth about the route, about the knife, about the name spoken in the dark, about betrayal. Tanya followed. Her voice cracked once, when she described the watch, the one their mother gave her, but she didn't stop. She didn't look away. Do you forgive him? Marcus said nothing. Forgiveness felt like a word people used when they didn't understand the cost. You saved lives, he said simply. Yours, mine. Marcus nodded, unsure what to say. That night, their mother made dinner like it was a holiday. Too much food, too many side dishes, love disguised as routine. Afterward, Marcus stepped outside alone. The street was quiet, calm, safe, or at least safer than it had been. He thought about Devon, not the man in the courtroom, but the boy from years ago, the kid who laughed too loud, who dreamed too big, who took the long way home just to keep talking. Somewhere along the way, Devon had made a turn Marcus hadn't followed. And maybe that was the truth of it. Life was full of turns, some obvious, some subtle, some you didn't realize you'd taken until it was too late. A month later, Marcus and Tanya stood at the bus stop again. The same one. New lights shone overhead, bright and unforgiving. Cameras blinked quietly, watching. "Do you ever think about that night?" Tanya asked. "Every day," Marcus admitted. She nodded. "Me too." The bus arrived. As they climbed aboard, Marcus looked back once more at the street behind them, the shortcut they'd never take again. The long way home was slower, but it was safer, and now, it was the only way they knew how to go.